It's Okay Not to Be a Seventh-day Adventist. That is the title of Teresa's book that is on Amazon.com. And what we wanted to do is to introduce it to people. And it's a fabulous book. It gives history, all kinds of, it's just super well written. But the question I have is, sweetheart, so why did you write it? What was the impetus for wanting to?
Well, Miles interviewed me, and that was the first time in public I'd given the reason that I wrote it. And so I'm going to do it again in case somebody hasn't seen that interview on Miles answering Adventism. But when I was a Seventh-day Adventist, I had a friend that asked me to take his son to church. And I did that for several months. And finally I got the courage to invite the man to church with me. Because his child had gone to some Adventist church and the Adventist school in Keene. And so I thought he was an Adventist, and he told me he did grow up Adventist, but that he had been in the Vietnam War and that he had done things that he believed that Ellen White would never approve of. And one of them was drinking beer. He loved beer and he didn't want to give it up. And so he felt like he told me point blank, I'm going to hell. He said that point blank to me. I know I'm going to hell, but he says, I don't want my son to be in hell. So
that's horrible.
That really, really upset me. And I thought, okay, because I was brought up in a liberal Adventist home, I didn't think you had to be some Adventist to be saved. I continued to meet people like this. But it was when I was a Seventh-day Adventist that I began writing that book, because I thought there needed to be a book, not to try to convince Adventists to come back to the church, but if they were going to leave the church, to keep moving on. Don't get stuck and not be able to move on into mainstream Christianity.
Right.
And so I started writing the book in my head, but it wasn't until right after we left the church that I began to actually sit down and write it. And I had no idea when I conceived the book that it was going to be kind of me helping myself leave Adventism. And what I did was I had a strategy. I wasn't trying to get people, my strategy was this: bombard them like a shotgun with all the reasons they don't have to leave Adventism and feel like they've done something evil.
Right.
They needed a whole bunch of reasons. And as I was doing all this research on Adventism, I came up with more and more reasons I could add to it, as to get them to see there's lots of things wrong with Adventism, and Christ still loves you, and continue walking on, and it's okay not to be Seventh-day Adventist.
And that's where the name came from.
Right. And it was actually, that was my mantra. For years. I mean, you and I talked about this. We would go through, and daily I would say, because I'd be in panic, it's okay not to be Seventh-day Adventist. It's okay. So it was kind of helping me as I was writing it.
Right.
And with the thought of anyone out there who has left Adventism, even if you're thinking very seriously of leaving Adventism, or you've left, keep walking and find a home someplace else in God.
Right.
And so that was kind of, the purpose of the book. And it was not at all to get people to leave. That wasn't my motivation at all.
Right.
Okay.
And the people that I have heard tell me, get reports back that that's not the field of it. It was great. They loved it. They said it's a fantastic, wonderfully written book. So
Ellen White gives you a lot of guilt.
Absolutely.
Little tapes went over and over and over and over and over.
That's right.
So I just wanted to stop those tapes.
That's right. That's right.
To stop the self-flagellation you go through when you start questioning.
That's right.
You know.
That's fantastic. So I strongly recommend you read this if you are considering leaving Adventism, or if you're into Adventism and just don't want to feel so guilty. It's
For somebody that's just interested in Adventism, that isn't
Right.
even an Adventist.
right.
Just
Yeah, I've
out there.
had several people that were Baptists, and it helps them relate to Adventists better, because difficult to relate sometimes. So it's okay not to be a Seventh-day Adventist. It's on Amazon.com. If you can look it up either under the name or under Teresa Beam, and all her books will come up there. And so please go there and buy it and send it to your family and friends.